Hey guys, today I wanted to do a little bit more of a deep dive into lists inside of Python. I've been getting requests to do a little bit more about lists, how we can create them and add things and remove different items. And so I'll go ahead and show you some of those things. So I can simply just make a list by, let's say we just have some heroes. A lot of my students like to do hero stuff, so I'll do some heroes. Remember, a list will have the square brackets, and you can have any item you want in there. It doesn't have to be a string. It can be another set of lists, or it can be a string, numbers, booleans, other objects, whatever you like. So I'll just do Spider-Man, and I'll add the Hulk, and just one more. And then I'll have Iron Man. Okay, and then I can print my heroes just to make sure that everything's working okay and that my syntax is free of errors. Cool, so that's working just fine. So let's say that I wanted to simply add something to a list. So there's a couple of different ways. My favorite way is to use the append function. And so all I have to do is do the data that I want to append. So I do heroes.append, and it's a function, and it will receive any kind of object. You can see the autocomplete, it's looking for something. And so I can just say, I want you to add, let's say, vision. Okay, so now I need to print my heroes, make sure that's being added, and there it is, there's vision. So append will specifically take this new item and it will put it on the back of this list. It will be the last index, no matter what it is. Okay, so that is append. You can also use insert, so you can take that same data, so heroes dot insert, also a function, and only it's going to take two different parameters. So the first parameter is going to be the index. So let's say I want it to be after Spider-Man, between Spider-Man and Hulk. So Spider-Man's at index 0 and Hulk is at index 1. Well, I want it to be at index 1. So I'll do index 1, comma, and the second parameter will be that item. So let's say I want to add in Ant-Man into index 1, which should be my second item now. There it is. So Spider-Man, Ant-Man. Now Hulk has shifted from 1 to 2. Okay, so that's working great. And then one more, which is less popular, but in case you do see it at work or something. So you got heroes, and let's say I wanted to insert it at index 2. And I can set that equal to whatever I want. So if I want to add in the wasp, okay, now she's added in there at index 2, 0, 1, 2. Okay, that's probably the least popular, and I think it's the most confusing to look at. So I don't think you'll see it as often, but there it is. Okay, so I'll just say that this is my this is my old list, just so that we can compare it. Okay, and then I'll do a new list. So I'll say new list here. Okay, and if I can type right, there we go. And now I'll print the heroes after I have removed some items. So there's a couple of different ways you can do remove as well. One that you can do is simply delete it. So you can do del for delete space, and you can just type in the list, so heroes, and use the square brackets for whichever index you'd like. So let's say I want to take away Ant-Man, so I can just say index 1. Okay, and if I print that out, so there's my old list, here's my new list. And I'll do a new line there too, so that's a little easier to see. There we go. So here's my new list. You can see that Ant-Man has been taken out. Okay. Another way we can take something out of a list is that we can simply use pop. Okay, so we can do, well, if you do pop, it will actually return what you have taken away. So I'm going to assign this to a variable. So I'll say popped hero, and that will just be heroes.pop, and it will take away the last item. So kind of like how append adds to the last index, this will take away from the last index. Okay, and so now you can see that vision has been taken away, and if you ever wanted to print whatever that was, you can just say popped hero. You can see that vision has been removed. So if you're ever deleting something from a database, you can say hit a delete button and run a pop or whatever, you can have it return what you had removed. So that works properly. And then there's one more, it's probably my favorite way, is the remove function. So you can just do heroes.remove, and this will look for something specific in the list. So let's say I want to take away the wasp, and it is case sensitive. Okay, so now I've taken away the wasp. So that's really nice because you can do something specific instead of trying to shift around and mess with the indexes. So that's working really nicely. So that is how you add and append to lists. Okay. So what if I wanted to sort through a list? So let's say I had a string of data or a list of data, and I wanted to bring it up in alphabetical order. Then I can just do something like that. So I can have like, we'll just say some letters. So you can have like A, C, I, and Z, and H. Okay, so I can just simply do letters.sort. Okay, and I can just print letters now, and you can see that it puts it in alphabetical order. So A, C, H, I, and Z. Okay, and we can even reverse the order, because sometimes that's what you want. You can reverse it by saying reverse equal to true. It's just a Boolean, and now it's in opposite order. Okay, and you can also do the same thing if you're doing numbers. Numbers, and let's do a list again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can even do some, whoops. Okay. Okay, so there's my list without any kind of sort or anything. So if I just simply do numbers.sort, by default, it will number them from lowest to highest. And you can see that whenever I had a double number, it stacked them next to each other, and that works really nicely. And we can do the same thing with the reverse function. Reverse equals true, and it works the exact same way. Okay, so that's working really nicely. And if we ever wanted to, let's say, join all these things together into a single string, then we can just simply tell it what to join by. So it's going to go through each index, and it's going to say, okay, here's each index, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I want it to join by what? Well, I can say join it by a plus symbol, dot join, and I tell it the data that I want it to join. Okay, and then I've got to print this. Okay, so you can see that it didn't work, and it's because it's expecting a string instance. So you can't use the join function as you may have seen in my other videos, such as the bad word filter. And if you want to check that out, you can click this card above. But you got to only do that when it comes to strings. So if I had my letters again, and also as a list, I can say A, Z, E, F, oops, and B. Okay, so if I did that with letters, it did it just fine. Okay, so you can see that all this is all one string, and every single time it found a new index, it joined it together with the plus sign. So normally you just do a space, and it spaces them together. Okay, so now what I want to do is show you how to, well, if you want to query something, you can just do, let's say, letters, and if you want to search for a certain index, you can use the square brackets just like we did in strings before, and you can just say I want Z, so Z is at index, let's see, 0, 1. So let's look at the index 1, and it pulls out Z. Okay, and if I wanted to find something specific, I can just do letters dot index, and I can give it something specific like Z, which we already know is 1. So there's 1 right there, or we can try F. Okay, and then finally we can see what the length is of a list. So I can say the length, which is len, and that's a function. So inside parentheses, you put in whatever you like for it to iterate through to see how long it is. So letters is 5. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's correct. Now let's try numbers. Awesome, and that's 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that works really great, and that's really good for when you're trying to use some kind of like a while loop to see if there's a certain amount of numbers, like a counter. I want you to count how many are in there or something like that, or iterate through for how long I want the while loop to last for, and just minus it through there, so on and so forth. A lot of my students do something like this for like their manual exponents coding challenge. So that is a deep dive into lists. If you have any more questions about a list or anything else in Python, please let me know inside of the comments. If you like these videos, please like and subscribe so that you're notified when I upload a new video. And I try to do that pretty often. Thank you guys so much, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.